Well, hello everyone, and welcome to tonight's segment of HardHabitsToBreak.com. This should be a rather short segment and very to the point, and I hope you walk away with this learning a few things. So in business, we all have hard habits to break. The question is about being able to diagnose where the problem comes from. I myself have been in the apparel decorating industry for just over 30 years. And during this time, I have had people tell me that, well, you can't do this and you can't do that, and this system doesn't work versus this one does, all because they don't take the time to figure out where the problem is. One of the single biggest hard habits to break is thinking you know where the problem is when in all actuality you do not. So I've got a simple little test for you tonight. That test is a very basic test, and this holds true not just in the apparel decorating business, but in any business. But specifically, I'm going to address one issue in the apparel decorating business to highlight my point. So I've got a very, very simple task for you tonight, and it's really quite simple. So I have a piece of wood here. I've also got a hammer, and I've got a few nails. Now, I just picked these up out of the box. I don't know anything about them. I just grabbed this piece of wood out of anywhere. It looks like your basic piece of lumber. And I grabbed this hammer just off the floor. So what I want to show you is this. So I guess the easiest way to do this is just to do it. So we're just going to drive this nail in. Whoops. Simple enough, right? Drive another one in. Oop, simple enough. Drive another one in. Oh, look. Nail bent over. What caused that? Well, in business, you need to determine what it is you're trying to do and where the problem possibly can be. So in this situation, I have a piece of wood, I have a nail, I have a hammer. Where does my problem lie? Is the problem with the piece of wood? Is the problem with the nail? Is the problem with the hammer? Most people will say, well, the problem's with the nail or the piece of wood. In fact, just yesterday I had a conversation and I explained this exact project to the gentleman, and he looked right straight at me and said, well, the problem's the nail. And then he changed his tune after we talked just for a minute. And he said, no. The problem is probably the operator. What I want you to hear is, other than an obvious mechanical failure with something, in this situation, the mechanical failure with the hammer, mechanical failure with the nail, or something wrong with the piece of wood. Now, if there was a knot in this piece of wood, I would say that attributed to the problem. However, in this situation, there's no knot, so therefore I can eliminate the piece of wood. Well, 2 out of 3 nails went in no problem. It was the third one that bent. Chances are I can eliminate the nails. The hammer works. You can see that because it works. It's a hammer. It's not broken, the head's not flying off, the handle's not broke, and I can put plenty of impact behind a nail. So the hammer's not broke. What does that leave you in return? Leaves you me. Leaves you the operator. It means that due to my inconsistency, I bent the nail. It had nothing to do with the hammer. It had nothing to do with the piece of wood, and it had nothing to do with the nails. In fact, I actually had 4 nails, and one of them's over there. Because I don't hammer nails a lot. I work on equipment. I do things which doesn't really require a hammer. It requires more precision. So have I got you thinking yet? Have I got you saying, I really don't understand where this is at? Well, what I want you to understand is, in your business, you have tools. You maybe have pieces of machinery. You maybe have computers. You maybe have who knows what. You also have employees. Where are the majority of your problems coming from? The amount of businesses that I go into that blame the machinery, that blame the product, that blame everything other than the employee. So now I'm going to give a shout out to M&R. M&R is the largest manufacturer of screen printing equipment in the world. Many years ago I used to work for them, but then I also had my own print shop. I've ran several large print shops, as well as I have my own consulting firm now. M&R developed a very long time ago a product called the Trilock. You can put 100 screen printers into a room and ask if Trilock works. Depending on who's in the room, you are going to get yes to it works okay, to well, it works some of the time, to well, no, it doesn't work very good at all. This is a tool. That's it. It's a tool. It's not physically broken. There's nothing wrong with it. We've already determined that. What I want you to see also, this is now an M&R Trilock pallet. This too is a tool. There's nothing wrong with it. Corners are not moving. There is nothing wrong with it. And you're saying, well, what's your point? Well, my point is really quite simple. If you blame this hammer for that bent nail, you're blaming the tool. If you say that that Trilock pallet doesn't work, you're blaming the tool. What bent this nail was the operator, which means I do not properly know how to use this. And I'm just going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Trilock pallet and the Trilock system is one of the easiest things to use. However, if it is not used properly, it's no different than this hammer. And to be quite honest with you, it's really, looking at it, it's no different than this hammer. It's a piece of metal with a locator on it. So here's the thing. If I try to drive that nail in, yes, I managed to do it with the wrong end. That's on me. Okay? It's not designed to be used this way. It's designed to be used right here to make contact. This too must be made contact. Now what I want you to hear is really, really out there. There are people out there in this country that have a direct screen unit, which means they have probably an M&R or somebody else's unit. And what I want you to hear is the Trilock system is only as good as the system that's in use. And what that means is this. Excuse me. Unlike me driving this nail right here, I'm the only person involved in this scenario right here. However, if I am a builder and I am building a deck or something, and I'm shouting out to him measurements, and he hands me a board and I go to put it down and it is not the proper measurement, where did the problem happen from? The problem happened because he did not properly cut and or I did not give the proper dimensions. Two possibilities. However, if I remeasure it and it is the dimensions in which I shouted out, and I measure his board and it's shorter than I told him, then obviously he made the error. Well, in the case of the M&R Trilock, you have multiple departments in which have an impact on how well Trilock works on your press. If the screen department is not doing their job properly and making sure that the contact points are being hit in the screen department, you're going to duplicate that exact same thing out on the production floor. It has nothing to do with whether or not the tool works. It has everything to do with what was not being properly used. So if your shop does like so many shops that I go into, they have this very simple, basic tool laying in the corner because they said it doesn't work. I have a question for you. Do you know how to use a hammer? If you say to me, yes, but yet you cannot tell me that you can use a simple tool like this, where does the problem lie? It's not with the hammer. Hope that makes you think about something. And feel free to dispute what I'm saying to you in my blog, or send me an email, or give me a phone call. But what I want to hear is this. This works 100% of the time. I want you to hear that. It works 100% of the time, unless it's physically broken. This works 100% of the time, unless it is physically broken. If it does something that it was not supposed to do, like bend a nail, it's probably the operator, because the hammer doesn't have a brain. It's not capable of doing that, nor does this. And for your proof, my next video, which I had planned to do tonight, but, well, they didn't get the screens burned in time for me, so I will be doing it next week, will be me tri-locking a job. And be ready for it, folks. There's plenty of people out there that will say this: I can do a setup faster than you with tri-lock. I take that challenge. How many colors? What do you want to do? 4 color? What I want you to hear is this. What you are going to see in the next video is you're going to see me line up 3 to 4 screens. You're going to see that done. Cumulative time of my hands on the screens, not walking around the press, probably less than 30 seconds. If you can do a setup manually in less than 30 seconds, ain't gonna happen. You have too many variables you have to do. I don't. I know how to make this system work. I've been doing this for 30 years. I know how to make it work, and I know where the problems lie. And the problems usually lie in just very simple hard habits to break. And the hard habit to break is not knowing how to use the tool. End of story. Learn how to use the tools that you have within your company. And do not let your employees or anybody else tell you that it doesn't work. Because if it doesn't work, it's just a sign of the fact that your people are not doing something correctly. See, keep it simple here. If you were a home builder, how many hammers would you buy before you believed that the problem wasn't the hammer? 1. You have your 1 hammer right here. This tool will work time and time and time and time again, every single time. It will duplicate what your personnel did. If your personnel are the problem, you have to change the procedures. You have to make sure your personnel are doing it correctly. Again, is your hammer broke? Is your hammer broke? Your tri-lock pallet? I don't think so. It ain't broke, don't fix it. Have a great night.